Right beneath our feet, under pretty much every forest, every field, maybe even your own backyard, there's this hidden kingdom. It's a kingdom that literally built the world we live in, but somehow we've almost completely forgotten about it. So today, we're going to talk about the true unseen architects of life on land, fungi.
To really get their story, you have to go way, way back. I'm talking before the first trees, before ferns, way before any complex plants started covering the continents. Earth was a totally different place back then, almost alien. So what exactly was running the show on this barren landscape?
Well, the answer is pretty wild. For an incredible 40 million years, the tallest things on land were these bizarre 20-foot-tall pillars that just dotted the horizon. Seriously, try to picture that, a world of silent, massive spires reaching up to the sky.
These things were Earth's very first giants. And for more than 100 years, scientists were totally stumped. They looked at the fossils and knew they weren't trees, they weren't any kind of plant anyone could recognize. So what were they?
It turns out the truth is way stranger than anything they could have guessed. We now call them prototaxites, and they were fungi. Yep, giant, land-dwelling fungi that were a huge part of Earth's first ecosystems long before the age of plants as we know it. They were the original pioneers.
But the reign of these giants couldn't last forever. A new kind of life was getting ready to make the jump from the oceans. And this next chapter, well, it wasn't about one thing dominating. It was all about partnership, a kind of handshake that would completely reshape the entire planet.
Okay, so life's next big move was from water to land, but the first plants to try this faced a massive problem. The land was basically just barren rock. There was no dirt, no nutrient-rich earth to put down roots. How could anything possibly survive that?
For the longest time, this was a huge mystery, but the clue, it turns out, was locked away inside 400-million-year-old rock from a place in Scotland called the Rhynie Chert. You can think of it like an ancient Pompeii, but for plants and fungi, just this perfectly preserved little snapshot of an ancient world frozen in time.
And what they found inside was just incredible. Looking under a microscope, they could see the cells of an ancient plant all tangled up with these fine fungal threads. The fungi were basically acting as a root system, digging into the bare rock, pulling out nutrients, and trading them with the plant. For tens of millions of years, fungi were the roots for life on land.
And in the scientific community, this was a huge deal. The Rhynie Chert gave us the very first evidence of this world-changing partnership, which we call mycorrhiza, this amazing symbiotic bond between a fungus and a plant. This right here, this was the handshake that let plants conquer the continents.
Now, this ancient partnership didn't just help a few plants get by. No. It built a planetary-scale infrastructure that our entire world still depends on today. It's this invisible empire, a kind of biological internet, humming away right under our feet.
As the biologist Merlin Sheldrake says, these fungal networks are not just sitting there. They are active managers, stationed at the absolute heart of the planet's most critical life support systems. Just how vital are they? Get a load of this number. These fungal networks funnel around 13 billion tons of CO2 into the soil every single year. To give you some perspective, that's roughly a third of all global emissions from burning fossil fuels. They are a massive player in managing the world's carbon, and we barely talk about them.
And the sheer scale of this network, it's just mind-bending. The estimated total length of all this fungal filament in just the top layer of soil is 450 quadrillion kilometers. That number is so big it's basically meaningless, but try this. It's a length that is more than half the width of our entire galaxy.
So what is this thing? This huge, invisible system? Well, it's like a biological lace that weaves the soil together. It's a circulatory system for the planet. You could absolutely call it Earth's first and most successful internet. It's a living network that connects the whole terrestrial world.
But look, this isn't just some cool story about the ancient past. This partnership is just as crucial today as it was 400 million years ago. We are completely, and most of the time blindly, dependent on it for our survival.
So what would actually happen if they all just disappeared? The difference is pretty stark. With fungi, we get healthy soil, nutrients get cycled, carbon gets stored, and ecosystems thrive. Without them, dead stuff would just pile up. The land would turn barren, CO2 in the atmosphere would skyrocket, and our ecosystems would just collapse. It really is that simple.
And yet, despite how critical they are, these networks are what Merlin Sheldrake calls a global blind spot. Because they're out of sight, they're out of mind. Things like industrial agriculture, deforestation, and chemicals are tearing this ancient life support system to shreds, and most of us don't even know it's happening.
You see, when we destroy these networks, we're not just damaging a part of the ecosystem, we are erasing what Sheldrake calls an ancient library of solutions. Fungi have spent over 1 billion years figuring out how to survive, how to adapt, how to build resilient worlds. They hold answers to problems we're only just now starting to grapple with.
And that all brings us to one final really important question. Right now, as we face this massive planetary crisis, as we're desperately searching for solutions, maybe the most important one has been right here with us the whole time. What knowledge, what wisdom have we forgotten to ask of the silent, forgotten founders of our world?